question. I was asked a series of questions on how the phone calls came in. That's what I was asked.
And your answer was, it's 100% probable that I told him about that, meaning I told Brian Albert about my conversation with Ken Berkowitz, correct?
It's possible.
Was that your statement or not?
It was my statement then, but I've thought about it, yes.
And you've changed your statement somehow?
I don't know if I changed my statement, but I think the way the phone calls came in is Brian Albert told me, you're not going to believe what was found on the front lawn. And then I believe Ken Berkowitz told me he found the taillight, and I'm referring to the taillight from the both of them. I didn't provide any information to anybody.
Well,
information was provided to me.
What you actually said was, it's 100% probable that I told him about that. Yes, 100%. I'm not hiding that fact, but you're asking me if I recollect specifically. I know I called him after
Objection,
that
Your
phone
Honor.
call.
All right, so too many facts. Go slowly.
Sure. You said, yes, 100%, correct?
In that testimony, I did, yes.
And then in that testimony, you went on to say, I'm not hiding that fact, but you're asking me if I recollect specifically, correct?
I don't have it in front of me. That's what you're telling me.
You went on to say, I know I called him after that phone call, correct?
I don't know.
And you went on to say, if that's when Chief Berkowitz told me, listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this, end quote. That was your statement.
Objection.
Prior hearing, correct?
So I'm going to strike the end part.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
You said you don't recall that entire testimony, right?
Not that portion. I know I was asked about how the phone calls came in and what was said.
Do you think it would refresh your recollection to see a transcript of your answer?
Is this it right here?
That's it.
I'm going to read it.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Does that refresh your recollection to what your testimony was under oath in June of 2023?
I do.
And you said, if that's what Chief Berkowitz told me, listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this, correct?
That was the statement I made, yes.
Why did you say, listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this?
Objection.
Why'd you say that?
Because I felt they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain what was going on. And what I had said over that was, I believe what I said, something to the effect, I can't be 100% positive. And then when I went on to say, it's probable. But I felt like they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain how the phone calls came in. I've had time to reflect about it after that, since that testimony. And both that information about the taillight that was found was provided by each person. I didn't provide any information to anybody.
Next question.
Thank you. You said, look, I didn't do anything wrong in this because it looks like you and Ken Berkowitz were colluding to provide information to Brian Albert, correct?
Objection.
Is that correct?
Absolutely not correct. That's
And
wrong.
you knew that was going to look like collusion, which is why you said, look, I didn't do anything wrong in this.
Objection.
Objection sustained.
Mr. Higgins, if you wanted to get rid of, and you've dealt with cell phones and electronic devices in your career many, many times, correct?
Over my career, yes.
You've probably even written search warrants for them, things of that nature, right?
Yes.
If you wanted to destroy evidence on your cell phone, what kind of steps might you take to do that?
Objection.
If you wanted to just get rid of information on your cell phone that would be unrecoverable, what steps might you take?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you know how to get rid of information on your cell phone?
Objection.
That's allowed. You can answer that.
Do I know how to get rid of information? I mean, I think there's different ways. You could wipe your phone.
Anything else?
You could wipe your phone.
Did take out-
Factory reset.
Factory reset might be one, wiping your phone, taking the SIM card out.
I don't know that the SIM card's going to take information that's on the phone out.
So that might be one avenue. You could break the SIM card in half or
It could-
snap it.
It
correct?
could, yes.
You know, the SIM card stores an enormous amount of data. The phone's just a brick.
No, I don't know that.
Okay. You could also, if you take the SIM card out, you just get rid of the phone somehow, right? Just destroy it.
Yes.
Might even consult with some kind of an expert to help learn how to permanently erase things from a phone, like a forensics expert, for instance.
Objection.
Sustained.
On Saturday, January 29th, you spent much of the morning rather, at Brian Albert's house, and then the rest of the day variously at Kenton PD. You would agree with that, correct?
No, you said I spent much of the morning at Brian Albert's house?
Correct. In other words, you went over there at whatever it was, 7:50, 8 o'clock, something like that, and then until about 9 o'clock.
No, I got over there around 7 o'clock and I was there less than an hour. I wasn't there most of the day.
Okay,
I never
fair enough.
went back there.
So you spent time at Brian Albert's house, then much of the rest of the day at Kenton PD, correct?
Yes.
And then the very next day, that Sunday, you called a friend of yours, a guy named Matt Kelch, didn't you?
Yeah, he's my best friend.
And
Yes.
he's a special agent with the FBI, isn't he?
No, he's not.
Was he then?
He's never been a special agent with the FBI. He's a special agent with ATF.
My mistake. My mistake. I thought he was with the FBI. He's a
He-
federal special agent,
He's a coworker of mine. Yes.
which makes him a federal special agent, right?
An ATF agent. Yes.
And does he work for or have access to the Regional Computer Forensics Lab?
Yes, he works over there.
Okay, that's the FBI Regional Computer Forensics Lab, correct?
Yes.
That's how I got my mistake. I apologize.
Well, I just want to make sure the record's reflected correctly.
You and me both. So you reflected it correctly. So Matt Kelch is an ATF agent who works at the FBI Regional Computer Forensics Lab, correct?
Yes.
And he's an expert in digital forensics, is he not?
He has a level of expertise more than myself.
And
Yes.
he's one of your best friends.
He is my best friend.
You spoke to him about the death of John O'Keefe, did you not?
Yes.
And you asked him for a personal favor, sort of off the books, correct?
Objection.
In that form, I'll sustain it.
Did you ask him for a personal favor?
No.
Did you ask him to show you or consult with you how to pull things off of your phone that you decide to get off your phone?
I asked him how I could pull text strings off my cellular telephone for the purpose of providing them to law enforcement.
This was not in connection with any case that he was working, correct?
That's correct.
It was not in connection with any case you were working, correct?
Objection.
Objection sustained, but you already answered. I'll strike that answer. Second question you can answer. Is this in connection to any case you?
No, Your Honor.
Next question.
But you asked your friend to utilize his resources to teach you how to extract certain information off your phone? Is that what you did?
I asked him if it was possible to get this off, if there was a method to get this off my phone so I could provide it to law enforcement.
And that information was selected by you, correct?
Two particular text threads, yes.
Right. In other words, there was nobody else that was picking and choosing what to get off your phone. That was just you.
It was me, yes.
And the reason you did that, Mr. Higgins, is that you wanted to control and limit the amount of information that was pulled off your phone, right?
Objection.
Is that why you did it?
No, I did it because I wanted to provide it to law enforcement, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
But you could have just provided your phone to law enforcement and let them image the entire thing, correct?
I guess that was an option, yes.
And you knew that was an option at the time. And you're a trained ATF agent.
What's the question?
You knew it was an option to just hand your phone over. Just pick it up and give it to them.
And there was also an option to provide it to them as well.
Right. But you chose the one that you got to select the information, not the one where they would get everything, correct?
Objection.
Changes to that form.
Did you actually go to the FBI Computer Forensics Lab?
Yes. Let me correct that. I didn't go to the lab itself. I went to a kiosk, what they refer to as a kiosk on the first floor over at FBI.
Okay.
And all local PDs, law enforcement have access to that.
And that's obviously
It's an unrestricted area. You can be in there, as I understand it, unaccompanied if you're local law enforcement. It's on the first floor.
That is a federal facility, however.
Yes, it is.
Did you utilize any computer or any data extraction machinery, if you will, a computer or something to extract this data?
Well, it was a machine. I don't know what it's called.
Okay, fair enough. I'll use the word machine. I don't know what it's called either. So you hooked that phone up to a machine, correct?
Yes,
And that machine belonged to the FBI. It didn't belong to you. Is that right?
that's correct.
So that was a federal resource, not for anything having to do with any official case that you were working. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I need to see you. I know this is not concerned, but I need to see you. While we're doing that, counsel, come on back. Yes.
Hi.
Trying to figure out how we do
I don't
that.
know. Is that in reference to the key swipes? Yeah, I don't know.
Makes sense to me that somebody has counsel and the counsel is not aware of a potential issue. So you'll hear the offer of proof. I'll let you speak to Mr. Higgins before this actually happens before the jury.
Could I just have him identify?
Yes, I was just going to ask you to identify yourself.
Sure, my name is William Connolly, spelled Connolly.
All right.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
The witness has indicated that he utilized federal resources for personal gain. The specifics of that testimony have been as follows. He indicated that he contacted Matt Kelch, a federal agent. He indicated that he utilized a federal facility. He called it an unsecure facility, but it's a federal facility notwithstanding. And that the two of them, he and Agent Kelch, utilized federal resources in the form of some kind of a machine, as the witness indicated, for his own personal gain, so that he could, as a witness, in no official capacity, working any official case, and in Matt Kelch's capacity as an individual rather than an agent, they both work together to download certain information from the witness's phone in anticipation of turning that highly selected, highly curated information over to law enforcement so that he could later ultimately destroy his phone, which this witness in fact did.
Okay, so it's not entire, I disagree with you. I don't think it's reached that level. His testimony was that he went to a kiosk on the first floor where all local police departments can go. It's unrestricted. It's on the first floor. And we just got to the part about a machine in the kiosk when you mentioned an FBI resource. So what is your question? What questions do you intend to ask this witness now?
Whether he's aware that under 5 CFR 2635.702, it is a federal offense to use his public office, to use any public office for his own private gain or for the gain of persons or organizations with which you are associated personally. In other words, an FBI agent or an ATF agent cannot use federal resources for personal gain. The fact that he contacted an ATF agent, the fact that he utilized a facility that is owned by the federal government, run by the federal government, paid for by taxpayer dollars, and the fact that he used a machine that is owned by the federal government to download certain information for his own personal gain, that personal gain being these are the curated texts that I'm going to turn over to law enforcement, that's a federal offense.
All right, so those questions are going to be asked. I don't know, there's been an objection to them. I'm not sure I'm going to let them in. But I wanted to give you the opportunity to speak privately with your client in the back room there. Can you do it in short order? Or do you need
I
more
can
time?
do it in about 10 seconds.
Okay,
Sure.
all right.
If you feel the need.
So why don't you go back and talk to him? I'll stop bringing the jury or getting the jury lined up to come back.
Thank you,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Please rise for the jury. Please be seated for the session.
All right. We have a very few minutes left, Mr. Jackson.
Understood. Mr. Higgins, you indicated that the phone was hooked up to some sort of machine at the FBI kiosk, correct?
Yes,
You're aware, sir, that under 5 CFR 2635.702, you may not use your public office for your own personal or private gain or for the gain of persons or organizations with which you are associated personally under pain of a federal offense, correct?
Objection.
no, Your Honor.
Are you aware that under 5 CFR 2634.704, it's a felony to quote?
Objection, Your Honor,
sorry,
as
for,
to
quote, an
reading.
employee-
Go ahead and finish the question.
For an employee, I'm sorry, an employee has a duty to preserve and conserve government property and shall not use such property or allow its use for other than authorized purposes. Were you aware of that federal regulation?
That objection sustained.
Sir, notwithstanding those regulations, you utilized the services of Matt Kelch as a friend and a colleague, but utilizing federal resources to pull information off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Sustained as to that form.
In fact, you were successful in getting information off your phone, which is the text that you turn over to the Commonwealth, correct?
Objection.
In that form, you're almost there, Mr. Jackson. That form was improper.
The information that was ultimately pulled off your phone was the information that you selected and you and Matt Kelch worked together to get off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor, if I could explain.
Sure.
He walked me through on how I could pull the text string with John O'Keefe and the defendant. He walked me through the process, how to use the machine.
And then you did that.
I did do that. That's
And that's
correct.
what you turned over to the police.
That's correct.
And any other information would still be on your phone ending in 5421, correct?
Well, that information stayed on my phone. I just took those strings off and provided them to the Mass State
Right.
Police.
So where's your phone?
I do not have that phone anymore.
You've destroyed that phone, haven't you?
No, I threw the phone away.
Well, that's destroying the phone, isn't it?
I had every right to do that.
I didn't ask you about your rights. I asked you what you did.
Objection.
Sustained.
You destroyed the phone by removing the SIM card. Correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that? Did you pull the SIM card out?
Objection.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone?
Your Honor, to the best of my recollection, if I did take the SIM card out, I would have, when I threw it away, if I was going to take it out, I would break it or cut it. But I did not wipe the phone. I did not take anything else off it. But if I was going to throw the phone away, that's what I would have done.
Okay.
You know, as an ATF agent with electronic data experience, when you pull the SIM card out and break it, and then throw the phone away and the SIM card away, you don't need to wipe the phone.
Objection.
Sustained. Mr. Jackson, that's it.
Your Honor,
One more question.
I can do this in 30 seconds, I think. You were aware that that there was a court order that you not alter, delete, or destroy, or in any way manipulate your phone or the electronic data associated with it, correct?
Objection.
As to what date?
As of September 23rd, I'm sorry, September 30th, 2022.
Objection.
Okay.
I don't believe that's what the court order was. I think it's
Your Honor, I
been,
can make a quick offer of proof. That's exactly what it was that he was notified.
Were you aware of that? Was that your understanding?
what's the question exactly, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
Ask the question again.
Sure. Were you served with a copy of a notice on September 30th, 2022, that you not alter or destroy or manipulate anything on your phone on September 30th?
I was served an order, yes, that's correct.
And isn't it true, in another hearing, you explained that on September 29th, the day before you claim you got that notice, you changed phone carriers and changed phone numbers
And I maintained the phone.
until you didn't, when you destroyed it a month later by pulling the SIM card out and throwing it away, correct?
objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that in October? Did you destroy that phone?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone, Mr. Higgins?
Did you?
It's possible that I did. I believe that's how I've testified, yes.
You
It's,
testified.
it's
at a previous-
possible that if I took it out, that it was either cut or broken.
It's not just
So
possible.
that,
And that would have been after the date the order was already denied.
Mr. Higgins, I have one question
Objection.
left. One question. Did you, Mr. Lally already standing. I haven't even started.
have a seat, Mr. Lally. Go ahead. Last question, Mr. Jackson.
Quiet, please, quiet.
Mr. Higgins, very simply, and then we're done. Did you remove the SIM card for that phone, drive onto a military base, throw the SIM card in one dumpster and the phone in a different dumpster?
That is not correct.
Did you testify that?
Was your one question, Mr. Jackson? All right, folks, that's it for